Okay, sorry for delay. Mario's next chapter. Peter's home phone rang. Hello? Peter? Speaking. This is Shri. Do you have time to chat? Sure, perfect time. I thought I would see how you were doing today morning. By the way, that's something that Indian people say. Instead of this morning, working with Indian people, they say today morning. Doing all right, Shri. How about yourself? I've had good and bad ones. Today is a bad one. Why is that? I miss my son, especially today. Oh, where is he? I have not told you about him before. I wanted to, but had not. I have run out of friends to burden with it. Peter, I lost my son some time ago in the Mumbai hotel terrorist attack. Peter sat down in his armchair and took a deep breath. I'm sorry, Shri. I didn't know that. I'm sorry for your troubles. You won't burden me with it. Thank you, Peter. Today would have been his birthday. Today is his birthday, Shri, not was. Tell me about him. He was working at the hotel at the time when the terrorists came in. He tried to reason with the terrorists, but it was useless, Peter. They shot my boy. The line was silent. Peter could tell she put the phone down as he heard the distant sobbing. He was my pride and joy, Peter. When he was born, a piece of my heart left me and grew legs and walked this earth, and now is gone, and that piece of my heart is now dead. Shri, I have my own burden to share also. I lost my wife in the Nice incident on Bastille Day, when that monster drove over my wife. Oh my God, Peter, I'm so sorry. Perhaps this is why we found each other. Perhaps, Shri, perhaps. They continued their conversation for 20 minutes until Shri's sister came in. Peter put down the phone and texted Jackie. Did you eat? No. Ferrari on me. How about Mario's on me? A bit pricey. Okay, Mario's Dutch. You'll spend about what you spend on both of us at Ferrari. Fine. Jackie picked him up in her 2009 Citroen and they drove to Sandymount. Was that you running into the football stadium like an arsehole? Yeah, it's a long story. Francois already gave me a hard time about it. So what's on your mind? Nothing, just thought it'd be nice to see you. Come on, Dad. What? Jackie grinned at him. Well, a few things then. Peter continued. A guy comes up to me in McDade's that I've never seen before and knows things about me that he could only know if he's spying on me, or somehow cracked into 13. Most likely he cracked into 13. Hacked into 13. What? Said Peter. You said cracked into 13. You mean hacked? No, cracked. So you think this stranger physically opened up 13 and knows your story? Said Jackie. Maybe not. He could have just connected into him through a computer from here. Then say hacked. You sound like a gobshite saying cracked. Peter stared at her. Anyway, that's odd, said Jackie. They parked outside the old Bors's chipper and walked a few feet to Mario's. They were seated right away, as it was a quiet night. He opened the menu, squinting his eyes. Still in denial? Jackie said. What? Reading glasses? I don't need those things. Okay, if you're okay looking like that every time you need to read something. Looking like what? Jackie made an exaggerated squint. Peter ignored her and continued to peruse the menu. You think that one single order here is the same as 2 orders at Ferrari? He asked. Close enough. You're mad. Are you ready to order? Asked the waiter. Sorry. He wouldn't have said it like that. I thought it was Peter. Are you ready to order? Asked the waiter. Yeah, I'll have a polo alla saliva. Peter could tell something was off. Jackie gave her order with a smirk and then burst out laughing. What the fuck is wrong with you? Polo alla saliva? So, it's pollo alla salvia. I hope I'm saying it right. Maybe it's Aya. Well, excuse me, Marcel fucking Marceau. Marcel Marceau, perfecter of the French language. This is an Italian restaurant. Whatever. Anyway, tell me about the stranger. He says all this stuff to me and I can tell he's been in my business. So I follow him outside. He then says that the terror that I'm fighting is different, or maybe he said worse than I thought. I can't remember exactly what he said. He said that things were different than way than what they were being presented as. He also said not to mention this to Thompson. That's weird. That's all he said. Then he said he lost his son and he understood what I was going through, and he'd be in touch, and then he left. I wonder who this fella is. Then I was talking to Shri, my Indian friend who controls the other agent in Paris. She mentioned that she lost her son in a terrorist attack also. So I only know two controllers, you and her, and the common denominator is that we've all lost someone in a terrorist attack. What are the odds? Probably a coincidence, said Jackie as she sipped her Chianti. Really? Yeah. What about this American guy, said Peter. Oh, he's American? Yeah, he said he worked for the US government. That's odd. You need to tell Thompson. But he said not to. And you're going to trust a stranger over Thompson? This guy could blow the whole operation. Tell Thompson, Dad. I don't know, love. Something seems off. What's off is that stranger and your suspicious mind. They finished up their meal and split the bill when it came. Jackie dropped him off at the flats. One for the ditch. One wine is enough for me. Good night, Dad. Peter decided to go into the yacht. It was a quiet night. David, having nobody else to attend to, talked a while with Peter. Dave eventually attended to someone else who came in at the end of the bar. As Peter was looking down at his phone, he noticed someone sit beside him and assumed it was someone he knew who was messing with him. It was the American from MacDade's. Carlsberg, please, said the stranger said to Dave. Oh, how are you? We were just talking about you tonight, said Peter. We? Peter realized his foolishness, but the words were already out of his mouth. My daughter and I. So you told her? She's my daughter. What did she say? Peter should have been more defensive with the stranger, but there was something about the man that Peter trusted. She said I should tell Thompson about you. Will you? Can you give me a reason why I shouldn't? Have you noticed anything odd, Mr. Casey? What do you mean by odd? The American just smiled at him. Besides you know my inner secrets in Paris, maybe there are a few odd things, but why should I tell you? Since you know so much, why don't you tell me what's odd? I'd rather you connect the dots, Peter. What if I already have? There was a pause. Do you find it strange that the other agent in Paris had a controller? I'm slipping into my American accent to make it obvious who's talking. Do you find it strange that the other agent in Paris had a controller who lost loved ones in a terrorist attack? Asked Monaghan. Yes, I do find that strange. And your daughter is also a victim. Yeah, she thinks it's a coincidence. Would it interest you to know that all controllers across Europe have lost someone close in a terrorist attack? All of them? Yes. Do you think your daughter would find that a coincidence? 13 controllers all having lost someone close to them through not just terrorists, but Muslim terrorists. When we were at McDade's, you mentioned something about there being another terror, not the one I thought of. I can't remember your exact words. You found a thread, Mr. Casey, and you are starting to pull at it. If you keep pulling, you will keep finding, but you must be careful for your sake and the sake of your daughter. There is another thread, though, which will expose something equally dangerous. It's attached here, he said as he pointed to Peter's heart. What do you mean? There is a poison brewing in there, Mr. Casey. You need to watch it. They are wanting that poison and will use it for their advantage. Peter was silent. The stranger's phone, which had been lying beside his pint, lit up with a message. Peter could not help but see it. Go now, they are across the street. The American left immediately. Your change, mister, David shouted at him. Dave shouted after him. Keep it, he said as he left. Who's that bloke? I don't know, said Peter as he got up off his stool to look out the window. A squad car was pulling out and headed in Monaghan's direction. Peter returned to the bar. You don't know him, Pete? He's deep in conversation there. He's American, said Dave as he pocketed the change. Americans are good tippers. What's that, Dave? Said Peter, who was half listening. I said Americans give good tips. Yeah, Peter. Yeah, they sure do. There you go. Hope you get the double meaning on that last line. Nothing like over-explaining something. Let me return back. Let me know if it's helpful when I give a little bit of insight into the chapter. That's Mario. Sadly closed down. Kevin and I, my brother, walked by there and a few weeks ago, and they'd closed down. I'd never been in there. It opened after I left, so I think in the 90s, and my parents, I think, had gone there. Not frequently, but a lot of people went there, so I had it in the book. Just going back, I marked a few items here I wanted to go back to. The term that Shri, when she refers to her son, and she says, when he was born, he was a piece of my heart, left me and grew legs and walked this earth. I got that from Barack Obama, who after the I think it was Newton, that terrible shooting in Sandy Hook, when he came down there, he later said that was the hardest day of his presidency. But he that's how he described children, that they are a piece of our heart that grows legs and walks the earth. And I thought that was so profound, whether that's his original or someone else. So I wanted to have that in there, or just felt right to have it in there. And then the other second thing I was going to talk about was when he says, usually the term "one for the road." Al Tinley, my Dublin friend, would always ask, "One for the ditch" instead of "one for the road." One for the dish. So that is that, and I will see you. I'm going to go back to work now, and I will see you. Next chapter is called John Boy. I hope you're enjoying it. And thank you to for if you're still listening. One friend who may be listening now said it was like listening to me tell a bedtime story with bad words. There you go. Good day. Good night.